Mhm.
Hello, beautiful,
Mhm.
and welcome to the Moms Talk Sex podcast with me, Mor Yelvington, your host. I am so honored to have the beautiful Diamond here with me today. Hi, Diamond.
Hi, More.
I'm so excited for this conversation because I feel like if you're tuning in to this conversation and tuning into the energy of me and Diamond, you are going to experience something magical in your life after this talk. So put away whatever it is that you're doing, grab your glass of whatever you want to drink, and come join us for the next 20 or so minutes as we dive into the magic world of sex. So, Diamond, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody in the world know what it is that you do?
For sure. So I am Coach Diamond Drip. I am a coach, speaker, and an author. And what I love to do is explore women, especially human design, and help them shed the stories that they've been telling themselves that have them stuck in limitation and lack, and really start to embrace the gifts that their soul chose in this lifetime in order to start monetizing their passion, their message, their mission, and to really be in flow in alignment with the universe. So I use these tools myself, and then I get to nerd out with these tools with other individuals.
Okay, I love this. So maybe we need to clarify for people that don't know what human
Mhm.
design is. What is that actually?
Yes. So human design is a synthesis of a bunch of different sciences that map over each other to create what we in human design call a body graph chart. I like to think of it as a user's manual for how to navigate this lifetime because it tells you how you make your best decision. It shows you areas where you're more likely to lean into outside noise versus trusting that inner wisdom, that intuition when it speaks to you.
Oh, I love that. And so let's go a little like history. How did you tap
Mhm.
into this and what brought you into human design in the first place?
Yeah, so I had just pivoted in my business. I went from being a product-based business owner to a service-based business owner, and that brought up all this stuff about worth and how much do I charge and is this, worth the value of what I'm providing and things like that. And at a point where I was really like personally developing, because I had just done the psilocybin clinical trial and I was trying to figure out how to integrate these parts of my higher consciousness into my everyday life because I loved who she was in that experience. She was empathetic, she was just so graceful and just had so much forgiveness. And I was like, how can I be more like her in my everyday life? And then in my business, I was trying to figure out what my business superpower was. There are a lot of business and mindset coaches out there. It's safe to say that's a saturated space. And so I was like, well, how do I stand out? And this tool was introduced to me and the rest, as they say, was history because once I started to unpack my design and then once I started, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this, and then once I looked at my partner's design, I looked at my 7-year-old daughter's design, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like cheat codes a little bit for how to navigate and be in their energy field. And once I really started to see the synergy in my life and using these tools, I was like, there's no way I can keep these to myself. Like, this is all I want to talk about. So how can I bring this into my business?
I love that so much. So how do we bring it into the bedroom, right? How did it affect your bedroom and your relationship with your partner?
Absolutely. So this tool has definitely affected our relationship in terms of communication because there's just that deeper level of um, understanding and empathy. But the thing that really helped when it came to the bedroom, especially, was actually me going off of birth control. So when my daughter was born, I went on Mirena. And originally it was for 5 years, and then studies kept coming out. Hormones are still good for up to 8 years. And so I really wanted to explore non-hormonal birth control because I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 when I was 14. And so because of just already the chemical imbalance that was happening there, I was like, okay, the hormones are obviously not helping, especially during PMS. And so I really wanted just a natural remedy. And that was when I found the fertility awareness method. And it was through using that as not only a tool to understand my body better, but also to prevent pregnancy that we really started to gain that intimacy that was needed. Because after all, when you're using the fertility awareness method, you have to be communicative around like when are your fertile days, when are you ovulating, like when's your period coming, during the luteal phase. It's been really interesting to notice just the different hormonal fluctuations and the libido shifts that happen during there. And being able to communicate all of these things and paint the full picture has only helped our intimacy there.
So maybe you can give some examples of that. Maybe you can share a little bit about what are the different types that we have in human design and how to maybe read that when it comes to the bedroom,
Yes.
or give an example, you know?
Yes. So we are both generators. And so what that means is we have sacral definition, and the sacral center in human design, I believe in the chakra model too, but in human design, it is the home of creativity and sexuality and all of these things. And so based on like the gates that are defined, you can actually like, for example, I learned that gate 34 in human design is the gate of power. And so what can it's actually considered to be a slightly asexual gate in that because like one who has this gift is always busy, they're sometimes so busy that they don't even think about sex. And so it has to be one of those things where it is communicated more. There's another gate, actually 59, which is the gate of sexuality. It's the gate of reproduction. It's the gate of, bringing new things into form. And so each gate in the sacral actually corresponds to a different attribute that you can see in your sex life. And even, right, because I'm just talking about generators right now, but even non-energy types like manifestors, projectors, reflectors who don't have that sacral definition, all that means is that their sexuality is in flux. So it can fluctuate. They might be really into doing a lot of things because when you're in that type of dynamic where you are a non-energy type and you're with someone who has that definition, the energy that they put out becomes amplified in you. So for a lot of non-energies, they actually find that their sexuality changes with their partners because what's happening in their partner is being amplified in them. So these are like different ways that you can use these tools to really get an understanding of what's happening in the bedroom and intimacy.
I love that. So when you have that awareness, then you can actually talk to your partner and really shift around it, right? And really kind of understand where they're coming from. You don't have to feel as rejected. You also know that nothing is wrong with you, that maybe just in your human design, you are, like you said, like too busy to even think about sex. That's not in the top of your priorities. Where maybe for a projector, maybe that's higher on the priorities, right?
Right. And so just that awareness is really key. And to that point of awareness, when you said that, it reminded me we read a book together. It was called Come As You Are. And it was by Emily, I believe her last name starts with an N. And even gaining awareness around that and bringing like there are so many tools out there that can help create and deepen intimacy outside of the bedroom that translates into the bedroom. There are these tools that show you or give you insight into what kind of chemistry can happen. But this book was really instrumental because, like you said, there's nothing wrong with you if your desire, your drive, your libido doesn't match your partner's. It just means that you're different. And so it just takes more communication. And this book was one of those things that actually brought that to light for us, because in the book it talks about having spontaneous desire versus responsive desire. And so we learned that we're both on opposite ends of the spectrum. So whereas his might be more spontaneous, mine is more responsive, which means that something has to already be happening in order for things to start to register, for me to start to de-stress and to get into the zone of like, it's about to go down.
So how did you, I'm curious, like, so how did you, like, maybe you can share, like, what did you guys do to support that for you and for him and make it work for both of you if you're on the other sides of the spectrum? I feel like a lot of people are like that.
Yes, so the book helped, and then being able to develop like cues, like different signals, different check-ins. Like for example, we have some things that we do like hand gesture wise that obviously intimate, like being ready or not. But we're still honestly in the phase of exploring. We have all of this information, we have all of this insight, and now it's coming up with the practical strategies for how does this look in real life. So the honest answer is we're still exploring, but we do have some things that work for us, like neck kisses, for example. Those are reserved for if something's about to go down. So it's really all about communication, and I'm sure that comes up a lot.
Yes, I can say the top three that we've got on a podcast is communication, scheduling sex time is huge, scheduling, and you time. Those are the three things that keep coming up in almost every person that I interview. And if you're listening, it's because those are the three things that the minute you start doing them, they are going to generate more sex in your life and more intimacy and more of that love connection. But with this human design, which is kind of like, if you've never seen this before, it looks kind of like an astrological map. It's the best thing I can describe it, combined with like the chakra charts, combined with it just looks like this crazy thing. Um, and I actually just read my human design chart and had it was really funny. I was kind of playing with AI and had AI just
Mhm.
explain it to me because some of it was kind of crazy. But when I had my friend coach that does it to tell me all about it, was way more in detail, way more
Yeah.
tailored to me. So I highly recommend if you're interested, seeking someone out like Diamond that can really break it down tailored to you because it's very general online and it can give you like a general idea. But when you know somebody and you know what they're doing, they really know how to explain it in a way that makes sense. And I think that's night and day between something you're just reading online and having someone who's actually been doing it and using it in their life tell you and explain to you about it more. So how many years have you been using human design and how would you say it's changed your world?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually haven't been in the experiment that long. I got into human design a little over a year ago. And the one line in me, so in human design, the most important characteristics that you're going to learn about yourself are your energy type and your strategy. So, how does your energy show up in the world? How are opportunities brought to you? Your authority, how do you make your best decisions? How do you connect to your intuition? And then your profile. So, how does your character role show up in the movie of life? And so, my profile, there are two numbers in your profile, and one of mine is a one line. And so that just simply means that I'm an investigator. I'm a researcher. I love a solid foundation of information. And so because I knew that I wanted to use these tools in business, I had to figure out how to make sense of it personally before I could even think about bringing it into business and into the language that I was communicating with people. So really, I think the one line helped me understand it more so I could bring it to light. But in the past year that I've been using these tools, I've really started to see a shift, not just in business, obviously, but also in relationship. Because when you're able to create that deeper level of empathy and understanding, like for my 7-year-old, for example, um, she does not have the emotional intelligence all the time to tell me what's going on because the language just hasn't been developed yet. And so being able to understand these different parts of her personality, understand when she might be living in the reactive or the repressive version of a shadow of her gift, and being able to help navigate and guide her through that with compassion has been so helpful.
Wow. I love that. I can just imagine. It's just the more tools you have, the more awareness you get, the more the communication is open and clear, the more you feel seen, the more you feel heard in your body. And then your partner can see you and hear you so much clearer when you have that ability to communicate what it is that you actually want when you know it. Because I feel like so many of us just, we don't even really know what we want because we don't really know who we are. You know, if we don't really know who we are beyond the beliefs and the fears and the traumas, like it's like, who are you actually? And so this really helps you kind of put in perspective. Okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm strong at. This is what I have a weakness at. This is how I navigate things and really get that awareness, which I love for sharing so much of that. So if our guests want to hear more about you, what you do, how to find you, where can they do that?
Absolutely. So the best way is on my website where they can actually pull their free chart, get some insights, some really quick wins about how to practically implement these. And also there are all of my socials. I know a lot of people who are in my audience, they connect with me on LinkedIn, DM me, message me, I will respond. But the website is going to be the best bet to connect with me in all places.
Okay, I love that. And we're going to have links in this podcast so you can find all the links and all the things so you can contact Diamond and get your human design chart and start communicating with your partner and have more sex because it's so
Yes.
fun when you're aligned. So thank you so much, Diamond, for being here with me. I really appreciate your time and your energy and everything that you bring to the table. This was such a pleasure.
Likewise.
And thank you guys for listening and tuning in. If this was a contribution, please share and like and let us know what you think in the comments. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll tune in with you again next week. Bye.